Tap Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm Nick McDaniel. He's Myron Fancher. How the heck are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great today. It's another wonderful day to be in front of the microphone. I have happened to come in possession of 1,000 bottles of baby oil in case anyone's starting a wrestling promotion. I am your source for all things shiny.
Time to play the game. That's correct.
Yes.
Hey, I got a really cool idea, Myron.
Yes.
We could start a new show with you and the baby oil exclusive on tappedoutpod.com over on our YouTube channel or Patreon, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. It is obviously where you get the show early. It's also where you get some bonus content. There was actually a pretty good bit of stuff, like the show notes are now being added. That's a new thing back in the mix. So you can kind of see what's cool about it is you get to see even things that maybe we thought we were going to get to that we didn't. And those will be in the notes, and that's where you get into questions. But, of course, look, Patreon, you can send messages there. All the bonus content, like I said, early, and you get the stuff, there's stuff that's only exclusive there. There were a couple things this week that were only exclusive.
Yes.
We started a new segment on the Tapped In show where it's this or that. And so we released one on the air, and there's one that's coming in a few weeks, but we went ahead and released it kind of as a sneak peek early, and that was only to the Patreon and the YouTube members who they're behind the paywall, and it was one of the most hilarious ones. It was so fun to do. So, but yeah, absolutely. Look, but it's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff obviously on the national scene. We're going to dive right into here, and then of course we're going to go rattling through. There's 11 shows this weekend to promote in the Making the Drives topic section. So,
a lot of shows.
It's a full plate. Yeah,
gets bigger every weekend.
Feels like
Every weekend. Next weekend's another big one too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yep.
Wow. Rumors in independent wrestling, rumors in big time wrestling, rumors on streaming service. Nick, what am I talking about?
So first thing we want to dive into, this kind of, by the way, it is kind of like ebb and flowed all week. So like I put this topic in, I had heard, we'd heard a rumor one thing, now we're hearing something else, but I said, hey, let's go both, because that's wrestling, right? You're going to hear, and it might literally the next day everything changes and goes a different direction. So one of the conversations that I know Conrad Thompson has said, Raw is going to be commercial free. Source one. That was not the first one, I should say, but the first source, somebody else came out and said, hey, no, we're hearing they're going to run commercials during Netflix, on Netflix for Raw. First, let's dive into, let's pretend today they announced they are going to run commercials. Like, why would they do that? Let's start there, and then we'll come and do the other side of that argument.
Well, it's live sports. They've got you captive. They don't just have you on television where you can slip channels. They got you, you're a captive audience, Nick.
Right. Like we discussed that, and we were saying, it's like, well, the audience is already trained to watch commercials during Raw. Or let me back up. They're already trained that there are commercials there. I'm not saying they watch them, but they're trained that they're there. The difference and the advantage that Netflix has over a USA or a CW or blah, 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 insert, channel, kind of once you're in the app, it kind of and I know it's not like it's the most difficult thing in the world to do, but are you going to, let's say hypothetically, they were like, hey, they're going to do commercials, but they're only going to do like 30-second commercials versus 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever the typical commercial break is. If it's a 30-second or a 1-minute break, are you even going to bother going all the way out of your Netflix app and then coming back in just to avoid a commercial? Or are you just going to doodle on your phone and glance at the TV and at least listen to the commercial to know when it's over?
Well, there are times I like a break to go to the bathroom.
Well, there's that.
Or go to the kitchen and get another Coke Zero. But I usually pause for that. Live sports. What other network streaming services have tried live sports? You've watched live sports on streaming services, correct?
Yeah, so Max has done basketball, Apple's done baseball, Prime Video does the Thursday football game, and I'm captured in, like I said, because a lot of times when you go out of the app, like, so with Apple TV, you can jump from app to app, but it pauses. So it's like, I don't want it to pause. I want the dang thing to keep running, so it's
You come
not
right back to the commercial.
correct. So like, what's the point? Like if it's paused. But I really do. And I find myself a lot, like, I don't jump out of the Prime Video app when I'm watching the Thursday football. So when they do run commercials in there. When they do, I mean, I sit there and watch it. Like, it's like, this is better than having a commercial on a actual linear television channel, because I can't just flip the channel like a piece of cake, to the next one, or hit back. You know how sometimes you got back, one button option where you can hop in back and forth and stuff. And I'm like, I'll just sit here.
Well, as the crankiest old man alive, Saturday night I watched the Georgia game. And most of the live TV I watch is not live. I record it with my DVR and fast forward through the commercials, because I use a mouse, because I'm at my computer. I've got a big screen monitor. I sit here at my desk in my comfy chair with my heating pad in it and relax and watch the television. I precision fast forward scroll through the commercials. Watching a live program drove me nuts, not being able to move through the commercials. Before long, I was spending so much time on Amazon, I lost track of the game because I can't look at the commercials. It drove me nuts. Is this going to give me a problem watching Raw? But then again, can I watch Raw live now? Am I going to have to wait till it's over and then watch it?
It's going to be live. That's the whole thing. So one of the things that Netflix is, I believe, are trying to accomplish here is, if you're growing your business, you got to get people that aren't like, that's the whole, we talk about it like when wrestler, right? How do you grow your promotion? You got to get new fans and bring them in. Well, how are you going to achieve that when, like, hey, if you got to go out and attempt to they're going to try to grab people who aren't your typical streamer that are still watching linear television. Like, why are they watching sports? Okay, well, I get it. Wrestling's live action, sports entertainment, whatever. But it's still stuff you want to watch live. They've also, by the way, picked up the NFL. They got the Christmas game.
Oh.
That's going to be a guinea pig, I believe. That if they run commercials there, I would lean into, you're probably going to see commercials on. Now, we are talking outside of the ad version of Netflix. I'm not, like, there's a $7 version that I love. Look, I'm an ad. Play the ads. I'll doodle for a second on my phone, and I'm back. 30, 45 seconds or whatever, and I'm back to whatever I'm watching. I'm cool with that because I'm that cheap. Because it's literally, think about this, it's over double the price. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But so we're talking outside the ad version. If they choose to, you're still going to have to sit through commercials. But again, the wrestling fan who's watching on USA, they're used to the commercial being there. So they're trying to drag in a new audience versus just, by the way, we're going to talk about a wrestling analogy, like a comparison. Instead of just appeasing the audience they have, they're trying to go out and get new fans and bring them in, new consumers into the Netflix product by doing live events like Raw, NFL, and we're going to see more and more and more things added.
Well, you got cord cutters. You got people that don't have cable anymore. You don't have people that all they have is streaming. You have people that do things differently in 2024 and in 2025 when it goes to Netflix.
Can I ask you a pause?
Yes.
Do you, because by the way, I'm including myself into this, but I'm going to ask you because I'm asking you the question. Do you truly consider yourself a cord cutter?
No. My stuff doesn't come in on a cord. My stuff comes in through a modem because I have YouTube TV.
Correct.
But
I had this debate with somebody and said, if you're a YouTube TV person, a DirecTV stream person, a Hulu Live person, pick Sling, whatever, are you really a cord cutter, or are you a glorified cord cutter just because you don't have cable TV with the boxes and stuff? And I'm like, you're just kind of ahead of the curve where eventually, because DirecTV was like trying to get out of that. Yeah. Like they're encouraging people like, hey, get our cable with no box. Like, get our cable just over the internet or whatever, however you want it. And I'm like, they give you, if you have their satellite or whatever, did you know you can use your login with a DirecTV Stream app and you can watch it anywhere like you don't have cable. So I told somebody who has it, send all your boxes back. Quit paying them for it. Just keep the free one if you want to. Send all the rest of them back and just put the apps on everything else.
If you got a smart TV or you got a Fire Stick already, why not? I guess I'm a fiber knot cutter, if that's what you call me.
Yeah.
I would not be allowed to not have cable television because my wife watches the stupidest stuff that they've ever put on television.
So wait, do y'all have cable upstairs or is it just YouTube TV?
YouTube TV, that's all we have.
Okay, I got you. That's it. Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's on all the streaming devices. It's on everybody's phone. You can watch it wherever you want to. You have access to the whole thing. But as someone who has been watching TNA through the YouTube app using their $1 a month YouTube service, you get it commercial free. But it's a 2-hour commercial program. But when you get it on YouTube, it's commercial free. It's an hour and a half.
Right.
Every time a commercial would be somewhere, you get kind of like a pause. The action starts right back. Correct. Is this going to happen with Raw?
Well, so here's the other flag.
Going to shut down?
No, that's a question. The time constraints, because it could literally it was funny to hear Eric Bischoff's he's like, if they don't do commercials, now we're going to go to the other side. Let's say they don't do commercials. Obviously, the ad version is going to have ads, etc. Basically, they'll treat it essentially like, TV has a commercial. Hey, go into the rest holds or whatever. We begged to argue, by the way, last week, if you heard the show. Just pause there. Eric's take was they've got to completely reformat the shows because the downtime's not going to be there like you're used to right now. It's going to be nonstop running. So you're going to have to completely reformat the Reway. Is it a 2-hour show? Is it a 2.5-hour show? Or is it just hey, now the rumor came out, they're saying, no, it's going to be it's going to be 2 hours on Netflix too. That being said, so we're going to watch it live. You're going to have the ads in there. If you watch it on a replay later, are those same ads in those same places? But if you see what I mean? It's how does it matter?
Do ad-free customers get an hour and a half long program?
No, because the matches aren't going to stop. That's what they're saying is it'll happen. The matches will continue to go. There's an ad there. You're just going to get an ad and something's going to be happening. Now I'm going back to a reason I paused was because does that encourage Netflix to push them a little bit from time to time to have a finish, have something big happen while you're in the break? To encourage, well, that's why you should be on the $15 plan, not the $7 plan.
Oh, because no more picture-in-picture then.
Don't go picture because they don't do picture-in-picture. Literally, so I have the ad version. You're watching a movie, it gets to a part, boop, it stops, and then an ad runs for 30 seconds, and it picks right back up where you were. TV shows the same thing. Sometimes they're strategically placed, sometimes not as much.
Like a Ziploc bag commercial right after they tried to.
No. I mean, when I mean strategically placed, it's hey, these guys are talking, and then it goes to an ad. I'm like, fuck. I would like it when it's like on TV, something happens, and you can kind of tell it was made to cut to a commercial right there. This scene ends, goes to a commercial, comes back, and it's something else.
Well, yeah, that was TV formatted for that.
Correct. So would you
promos? Do they work promos? Is that where you're going to start seeing it? Cut promo. You come back to a promo. Are they going to do promos during the commercial breaks for the non?
I'm excited. I have no idea. That's the beauty of this. The reason I'm excited is I have no idea. So
it's a wild year for wrestling. We saw the SmackDown preview on USA, which was wild. You got a Megan Thee Stallion intro, which, it was cool. I don't know anything about Megan Thee Stallion, but it was a cool intro.
She was in She-Hulk. I can tell you that.
The TV series? Oh, yeah.
She was at the end. Remember? That's what everybody lost their minds about, was the ending to that series. So.
I really enjoyed the She-Hulk series.
I did too. But you're talking. I wanted to ask you real quick because we got to get rolling. You're talking about the change, and I just know you well enough to know that you had to be just so psyched when you heard Saturday night's main event is returning
Yes.
to NBC. It looks like
Yes.
it's, they're talking like it's going to be like a quarterly thing again.
Yes.
And by the way, throw in Jesse the Body's going to be on commentary.
Yeah, I feel like a little kid again. I love that. And is that going to be your house show? Is that going to be why they're cutting back on house shows?
No. This is a quarterly special, like a worked in, like a, think of like a mini. I think what they'll do is they will do very similar to what they used to do. Remember, like Saturday night's main events, a lot of times were setting up the next pay-per-view. They would do it, and it would be like, and that leads into a match at the, you know, Hogan and Andre had something, and then that's what set up the, you know, the next match at the big pay-per-view.
Extravaganza. Because if it's Saturday night and your pay-per-views are Saturday night, you can't have them on the same weekend.
Oh no, they won't be. Yeah, they'll stagger.
So
yeah.
I like it.
Do it though, because remember, it's going to be on broadcast television on NBC, probably Peacock as well. I'm assuming, you know, so you could watch it on Peacock, like a PLE. But I just thought, like, man, and listen, I will tell you this though, I got choked up thinking about this. Can you tell how my heart's going to break though the first time Jesse Ventura says something, and like says. And just slips like gorilla, just references out because he's so used to that. That was what he, you know, you tell him gorilla or something, you know, whatever. And I'm just like, I will probably bawl like a 3-year-old infant throwing a tantrum, you know, or whatever if that happens.
Well, that's why we do this.
Correct.
I mean, there's no other reason we do this. It's because we were wrestling fans, and yeah, Jesus.
But
Christ.
but now, like you said, you better. Embrace this type of thing because yes, it has come out. They are going to do less house shows in 2025. You know, 300 to 250 down to probably 200. Look, it's simple. They pointed out. Look, these things aren't as profitable. They're just not. So why do them? Like, you know, we were discussing it prior to recording. It's an old Vince thing, and by the way, it was a very smart Vince thing. You got to get out there at the grassroots level, build your brand, get everybody, you know, kind of in, and all of those types of things. So that's kind of.
But Vince used a business model. His father, Vince, used a business model from the Jim Crockett days. Vince used a business model before the internet, before you could find out what happened at a house show anywhere in the world instantaneously. But they're increasing touring with NXT. TNA is increasing touring. So you're going to see WE superstars you're going to be getting their repetitions in on the TNA shows that are touring. They're going to be getting their repetitions in on those 200 house shows. NXT shows that are touring, you're going to start seeing guys coming and going on that. NXT does shows around Florida, some, right?
Oh, that's a different. Yeah, they have their like lower tier guys that are traveling around. But yes, they do.
But you're still going to see. They're still going to get plenty of work. It's just going to be different.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think you're going to see the main rosters getting the work. I think I look at it from kind of, I think, a little bit of a reverse of what you're saying. And what I mean by that is I think the small towns, if WWE were smart, because look, we heard recently like NXT's having a hard time selling a building that they were putting themselves in, but it's like an 18,000 seat building. And I'm like, okay, I could have told you that's probably a mistake. But so main roster, there's no more live event in Huntsville, Alabama. That was a per conversation. That's why it's kind of there. But what if a lot of those seed towns, if that's what you want to call them, that's where you pick and choose to run your NXT television shows. A little bit of a smaller venue, easier to fill up. It's still bigger than the PC. So you're still going to have a fuller crowd than what you're putting out there now, because that's kind of was the rumor that now we're hearing the opposite of that. There was a rumor like, hey, they're going to be on the road for TV. Well, now we're hearing, hey, they might go back to the PC. I think they're going to stay on the road, and that's if they were smart. I think they stay in the wheelhouse of those C towns, and occasionally dip into, one of the bigger cities for the
Different
show.
crowds for your shows. And look at the WWE contracts now. How many guys are getting on appearance per appearance contracts? It's not like you can have a Roman Reigns or a guy like that on every show in Huntsville. You're going to bring a guy in to sell tickets for a show in Huntsville, and you're going to have to pay him the same amount of money you pay him to wrestle on a pay-per-view. Or you're going to use one of those appearances that you pay him for. If you book a guy, look at Cena's deal for retirement. He's got 40 appearances or 30 appearances on that deal.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, and you're gonna use him in a small town?
I think that's the key of why you do this, is because if you have like deals where they are signing guys to like, hey, we're gonna re-sign Randy Orton, but he's only gonna work, I don't know, 150 days. Okay, if he's on TV, hypothetically, he's on TV every week, you've chewed up 52.
Mm-hmm.
If he's on every PLE, there's another 13 or 14, depending, because they run Saudi shows, etc. Okay, so now he's in the 60s. So you've only got him for 100. Well, he can't be on every show, right? You're having guys like Roman who are even less appearances than that. So every time, so my analogy is, if you're paying Roman Reigns $5 million and he's only on 100, or I know it's probably not even that much, by the way. It's probably like 50, who knows, 50 appearances in a year. Every time you use him, divide 5 million by 52. That's what it costs to have him on that show.
Yeah.
That's where the expense skyrockets. That's why Roman wasn't working show. And the more guys they sign to those type of deals with, because look, if you're just going to work less dates, you become more expensive. Even if your salary stayed the same, you became more expensive per show. Hence, that's why I think you phase those out over time, because it's all about the bottom line with TKO. It's that simple.
You're lucky to get, if you go to those house shows, you're lucky to get somebody who wrestles in the first 10 minutes on a show. You get the guys from Lucha House Party or whatever that faction is. What is the Lucha faction?
The LWO, but they're not there. Yeah, the Lucha House Party's gone, but yeah.
I know, but I can't keep up with things sometimes.
But, I mean, you still get talented guys. I think because now when you do it it's less 200, you more strategic with like, okay, if we're going to give them Cody at this show, let's give them this guy at this show, and so forth and so on. You're just splitting them up better, I think, but it's
you run Cody in Atlanta. You run other guys where they're from. CM Punk in Chicago, where they'll sell tickets.
Well, I think they're so over. They're selling tickets everywhere.
I know, but where they'll sell tickets at, what their hometowns are.
Yeah, I was like, that's kind of my take, and I'm like, look, I get it. I just think they're real simple. It's like, hey, we save on airfare, we save on building rental, we save on all of those, like the whole setting up the arena and everything, to maybe make a little bit of money. They're like, we just take our chances and save all of that. And there is no risk of losing money. It's just, so that's, and
they're going to make the smartest decision possible.
Let's go run a town where the minimum we're going to draw is 10,000.
Yeah.
Versus going to Huntsville and drawing 5. Because, I mean, look, WWE in a town like Huntsville might drive 5,000 people. You're like, that's that's AEW numbers or whatever. Like, yeah, but it's a small town.
That's a good show.
But I'm saying, it's a small town. That's the issue. They're just not going to draw the 18,000 they're going to draw in Chicago or whatever. So stay out of those markets. But look.
Well, how do you get on television? How do you get these shows on television? How much is television paying? And where is this damn AEW contract I've been hearing about? I've been hearing about like Bigfoot. I've been hearing about like all these extinct animals they're going to been bringing back for years. Where is this AEW contract, Nick?
Apparently it's coming sooner than later. Look, Tony Khan at the presser post All Out was kind of like, hey, look, I think, he felt good about the future with TBS, Turner, whatever, Warner Brothers Discovery, all that above. And then look, the Puck newsletter, I jokingly said, like, I don't even know who this is, because we're so engulfed in like, all we see is like wrestling newsletters and wrestling websites or whatever. I don't even have a clue who this is. Well, apparently I'm enlightened that John Oran, he used to be with the Sports Business Journal. So like, he's like a legitimate like journalist. He's not just so like he actually has a background. He's from legitimate, news websites, newsletters, etc.
Not sending Jonathan Felter messages.
No, a legit person. So he's the one. So, and look, a lot of people are like, look, if this guy's breaking the story, there's probably truth to it. It's
Because
like
wrestling media is dog shit right now. Wrestling sources and wrestling news. If a guy outside the bubble is talking, might be worth listening to.
Right. So he's kind of come out and said, look, these are the things he's been told, and we'll kind of talk about it. Let's get the semantics out of the way. 4 years, 3 years guaranteed. Okay. 170 million annually. Matches are going to literally some of these words I want to have some like I want to get to the details of. Matches will be broadcast on TNT, TBS, and True TV. Says twice a week, maybe. I'm trying to figure. Okay, that's cool. Whatever. What does that mean? They're also, by the way, the key to this thing was apparently there's not the exclusivity deal, so they are still having. Look, we heard last week they're talking to a Fox, about potentially a thing with them. Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll table that one all by itself. The question I had is all these numbers, the 170, multiple, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's starting to bang the drum. Well, then, hey, that makes them profitable. Does it, Myron? Does it really?
I don't even know. And nobody can release details because it's privately held. This company could be bleeding money. It could be bleeding money or not. I don't know what the payroll is. We've heard people estimate the payroll at $100 million. Is that reasonable? I don't know.
Could be more, could be less.
Because they've signed everybody. Half the people I know in wrestling have an AEW contract of some or do shows.
Here's a fair estimate. Let's do it this way, Myron. We've heard Chris Jericho, and again, rumors, whatever. Chris Jericho's at 5, Monet's at 5, we're at 10. You see what I mean? Okay, so we're at 10. Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Swerve, I think supposedly is in this mix now, MJF. So we're 3 or 4 other guys that are between 3 and 5. Let's go on the lower end. Let's call it 3. There's 12. We're at 22. We're at 22% of that 100 million salary and like 6, 7 people. That 100 million doesn't sound like, if you told me it was 100 million, I wouldn't go, get out of here. There's no way. No, okay, I got you. On the other hand, if you told me it was more or whatever, I still wouldn't be like, don't believe you.
From the hiring practices I've seen and the way he just gives people these massive contracts, I wouldn't doubt it. And, with no P&L to look at, what are you going to do? And no exclusivity, what does that make this deal?
I think that's the question mark. If they are still negotiating with them, I would kind of like, I would want to know that there's like your products. If I'm going all in on you, no pun intended, I would want to know like you're not out here on somebody else, like going to have another show on another network. Look, Fox Sports 1, we joked about it last week. Like it wasn't going to be Fox. I don't know why anybody ever. Here's the problem. I could be wrong. I preface with that every time I say something like this. I could be wrong. I don't see any way this is on Fox. This is probably on Fox Sports 1. I know we said the other two. When I read like the twice a week or are they going to do like a package show that has like highlight matches?
What was that WWE show where they did that recap show a million years ago?
Superstars.
Yeah,
they would do stuff like that. They would air like it would be a bunch of matches or whatever. I mean, because here's the thing. They didn't even mention the pay-per-view stuff. Are they still talking to Max about being on it? Like, is that going to come out? So some of the details are still fuzzy. And like you said, like we don't even have a P&L. So to argue that they're profitable, like, do you want to run some quick math? I mean, I sit there and made the case for, okay, if your payroll's $100 million and you're getting $170 million, that leaves you $70 million. Well, Eric Bischoff claimed, he estimated that an average show to produce is probably today's standards based on what he knows from when it was back in his day, put in inflation. He said 400 to 450. Let's say 400,000. And you do that alone for 52 weeks, that is $21 million. So now we're at $120 million. You haven't bought the first plane ticket.
What about taxes?
what about this? Is operating expenses. This is
Yeah,
not,
but wouldn't you be taxed on that $170 million?
not if you can chew it away and if you spend 200 to make 170, then no, you didn't make any money. That's what I'm getting at. Like, we just don't know. There's too many variables. We have no clue. They could be making money hand over fist, and we have no clue.
Well, to keep me from going all out after you go all in, what's the advantage of signing a fourth show to Fox Sports 1?
Another payday.
Yeah, but what's the advantage for Fox Sports 1?
Here's the thing. Fox experimented with SmackDown. I think it's we talked we had a conversation about True TV off of the air. Like, what if True TV is just a recap show, or what if they put Rampage on True TV? We heard, like, I was doing some digging, and like an average prime time slot on True TV draws like 100,000 people. Okay, well, if you took Rampage and you moved it over to True TV, think about this. On TBS, it's a disaster. It's the worst. It's like, it's 130. Oh my God, it only drew 131,000. If every fan moved over to True TV and watched Rampage instead, they'd be like the #1 show on True TV. Jump back over to what you just asked. What if, did you know on Fox Sports 1, that wouldn't be far off either? If they're getting if they were told, hey, we're going to give you $25 million to run a replay show or a highlight show on our Fox Sports 1 once a week, you've already filmed it all. There ain't no production cost. You're literally having some people, put a show together and send it over to them, take the $25 million, and if that show draws 100 and something thousand, it's probably other than like live sports, it's probably one of the highest shows they get.
Well, compared to live sports, $25 million for 52 weeks of television,
cheap as shit.
Yeah.
And if think about it, if they can fill 1 hour, 52 weeks a year for basically that, they're probably like, we're in. That's the plus for them. They get a show for an hour a week, 2 hours a week if they want to. I don't know. And then look, AEW picks up a paycheck. However, let's go back to this. Let's remember before we hit the gas here. Eric Bischoff says the worst thing that ever happened to him was he was given the ultimatum. He had to run Thunder. It spread them creatively that thin. No, he was like, look, it took all of our energies and divided it into two. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we were running one show. Oh, by the way, no extra money, no license fee. Figure out how to do it. So even then, let's say they get 25, 50 million, hypothetically. You're running 5 hours of content now. If that show is in any form or fashion new content, dude, you're making it exponentially worse on your creative staff.
Because you would have to film it after Collision.
When? Where? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, dude, what are you going to do? I mean,
you do it like Dynamite.
No, I know. I mean, I know that. But what I'm saying is like, dude, are you just working people to, like, you're just killing them then? Oh, no,
Ring
you got to
of
be
Honor.
careful.
Oh, shit.
No, they're already filming Ring of Honor. Yeah.
But what if you buy Ring of Honor for that extra hour of television?
What if it's Ring of Honor Aftershock? AEW's Ring of Honor Aftershock or something like that. You're already filming it.
That would be good because the Ring of Honor people we know would get a massive chance to be on television.
Correct. So it's not saying that it's not possible. The question becomes, I guess, it's like, I want an official announcement. Before I get it. Like, hey, all this, I want to know what's going to happen with pay-per-views. Are we getting a streaming component? And, what channel gets what show, what night, what time? I think those are like, this is awesome to finally have and believe. But like, what's next?
Yeah, but if we follow traditional guidelines on this, the minute we get finished recording this,
it'll change.
Between the time it releases, the whole news will change.
Correct.
But you know what thing isn't changing is the hot push. Our friend Cruel is getting an MLW.
He might be your buddy. He's a monster, dude. The Mads Kruger guy down there in MLW. By the way, I was a little disappointed in us that we didn't go to the MLW show in Center Stage. There's
I'm
a little
fat.
bit. No, look, I
Those
got it.
seats in center stage. I mean, unless I can get like some kind of expansion seat or a special needs seat. Actually, being fat isn't special needs. I'm sorry.
but
Handy fat seat.
I'm disappointed because of everything that happened. That's what I was saying. I'm disappointed
Oh
we didn't
God,
go.
yeah.
Look, we had a couple shows we were already committed to, had to stay home, do the favors, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, look, it was so cool. I did watch it. I watched it on YouTube. By the way, how about MLW giving away a show live on YouTube?
That's awesome.
Like, thumbs up. I like that. The cool things that we saw. First, we're going to separate some things out. JBL. John Bradshaw Layfield appearing in MLW. Dude's everywhere now. Like here's the funny thing. He happened on one show, and then we're like, oh, and then he came on another one. Hey, he's starting to show up everywhere. Boom, he's on another one. Like, Jesus, where's this guy not going to show up at?
Yeah,
That's
what's his trans fees? As much as he's around all over the place.
He's travel. Yeah, he's hitting the towns, dude. But it was really cool to see him there as well. It's kind of like, and I know they're probably not involved. Probably they might be. Who knows? It's kind of cool to see kind of, you know what I mean? Like, is he helping? Is this kind of the WWE kind of doing their part to help?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so MLW, you don't want to be a monopoly.
Correct.
That's $20 million it costs them for being a monopoly. And maybe that $20 million taught them, let your Legends guys go work other places.
Look, that's what they're helping TNA for that purpose, because you can't be a monopoly if you're working with the other company. It's something that simple. But now back to MLW. What we were jacked about it in. Yeah, like you said, Mads Kruger had a phenomenal match wrestling for the MLW championship. Bummed out that he did not win that championship. But ain't nothing like a good old fireball to kind of say, to pull you back real quick and go like, hey, I'm back in. And how about Mads Kruger rolling out the body bag? Like, I love this new thing of his rolling out the body bag. We think we're got to get it, and then we get a surprise of epic proportions.
Yes.
Matt Riddle hits the stage.
Yes.
Do you know what I said? I'm gonna ask you. This. I was like, are we really gonna get Mads Kruger versus Riddle?
Yeah. I want to see that. Love to see that. My thing is, though, I've always been a Riddle fan. Riddle has got to stop himself from being the next Rob Van Dam. He's one of those guys that's just got to keep his shit straight and keep it together, and he could be huge.
I think he's there. Huge. I think he's back on pace. I think he's there, and that's why I am absolutely so in tune. I am so intrigued to see this matchup. I think it's a great opportunity to see, I always tell guys, like, there are certain moments in your career when you get what's like a measuring stick match. This is a great opportunity for Mads Kruger to like show the world, because I think that's the thing, man. When you get these opportunities, that's what I'm intrigued by, right? Like the opportunity to have more eyes on the product, to see, like, are there WWE Matt Riddle fans now who are going to be like, Matt Riddle's wrestling this monster? Because you know what that looks good, Myron? Looks good on a freaking poster.
Yep. Looks good on a poster. It also looks good when people tune in and see you. That might be your first time getting noticed on national television.
You know what it is? There's always, I tell a lot of times I talk to wrestlers, wrestle every match like it's the first time somebody's seeing you, because you don't know who it is their first time seeing you. I am not, by any doubt about it. There's nothing in my brain that says I want to see this match, because I want to see how this comes off, because I have the utmost confidence in both of these guys. They're absolutely going to deliver. And by the way, MLW, on a side note, just to humor a fan, can I get a face-off between JBL and Mads Kruger? Because it ain't often there's somebody that can stand toe-to-toe, eye-to-eye, with that guy, and size and everything kind of matches up. Kind of does. Look, I get it. He's probably never going to wrestle, but can I have that moment? Like, that's it. Can I just have that moment?
See it.
Yeah.
I just want to see it. And get them pictures all over social media, folks. Get them pictures out there so other people can see it besides us hardcore fans. It's a great visual.
That it is, man. Well, look, I'm excited to see the future of MLW and what they got going on. Keep up the YouTube feeds because that's awesome that, like, hey, opportunity to sit there and watch it. Kudos to them. It's embracing a format that's giving them an opportunity on, like, trying to reach a new audience simply free on the YouTube. But listen, other things, Myron, that we got to get into before we get in, because we got a lot to get into. Yeah, man, it's that time of the show where we talk a little bit about the indies as we making the drives. Sponsored by jmartinandcompany.com for all your window washing, cleaning, pressure washing, gutter cleaning needs, all those kind of things. Look, it's the only people that I trust with my driveway, with my house, with my gutters, my windows, all the above. Commercial, residential, doesn't matter. They'll take care of you, man. jmartinandcompany.com. And look, man, that's a lot to get into this week. So we're going to do like that car just did and put our pedal to the metal, man. And we're going to jump right into Friday right here in Buford, Georgia. Disruptor Wrestling returns to Tannery Row for a really, really cool show, man. It's a big one. Look, the highlighted, everybody's talking about it. The legends, Sweet Daddy, Clint Eller, and Terry Rocker Lawler, those three are going to team up as the legends there in the Buford, Georgia Tannery Row to take on Exotic Youth and Randy Wentworth. Look, it's a little payback. Look, Exotic Youth attacked Terry last week because they were a little ticked off. They didn't win the Disruptor Cup and they were a little mad about it.
I wouldn't make Terry Lawler mad in Buford because that is like Terry Lawler home country. People turn out to see him anytime he's on a card in Gwinnett. So come out and see that, folks. That's going to be sweet. And the rest of the card kills it. How about that Party Animal Championship match, man?
That's the one that's kind of like drawing a lot of attention right now. You've got Zicky Dice and Hunter James in a triple threat challenging one Big Bishop, Big Trouble Ben Bishop there for that Party Animal Championship. He's kind of been an unstoppable force since he's kind of captured this title. He's not only here, he's all over the road. By the way, gonna be wrestling in a tag team with Mr. Jeff Jarrett at the Capital City Clash up there in Springfield, Illinois, against the Heat Seekers. So that'll be fun. But before he hits the road to get up there, he's going to defend that Party Animal Championship in that triple threat match. Any picks?
All over social media. This guy is killing social media, and that is so important. He has gone up on my scale so high, but I got to pick local favorite. I got to go with good old Hunter James. He's tricky.
I just can't look as good as he is and as talented he is. I hear the betting odds are Ben Bishop, Zicky Dice, and Hunter James. So Hunter James might want to prove all the odds makers wrong. I just think that Bishop is too big, strong, agile. Yeah, he's agile, folks, if you haven't seen him. And then Zicky Dice is just he's got the world. He's proven the world that he is the outlandish one. And Hunter James, again, hey, look, I give the kid credit. He's accomplished a lot. Can he just stay focused and can he, overcome those two? That is a huge, monumental task. And look, he's Bluff and Fluff's on the card. They're going to wrestle better together. Lots of other, people on this card. I'm sure. Look, Vari's going to be on the card. Rico's going to be on the card. Look, Matt Sells is going to be in the house as well. So it's always a party, if Matt Sells is in the house. So check out Disruptor. Look, doors are at 7, bells at 8. That is right there in Tannery Row in Buford, Georgia. Give them a follow on social media because you can actually buy your tickets, by the way. It's going to become a recurring theme. Follow them on social media because a lot of these promotions you can buy your tickets early. Forever Pro running up in Calhoun. Their doors are at 6:30. Bell time is at 8. Listen, is there a guy? I got to ask you this because we're going to get into the card here in a second. But Matt Griffin, dude, has his fingers, his sticky little fingers are in every little promotion it seems around.
Always having to explain his actions. Nobody can understand his actions, so he has to always go around and explain them. They're that evil. He's always having to make well-intentioned.
Can they be well-intended actions if you're constantly having to explain yourself?
Yeah, exactly. almost like a politician. Almost like a politician.
I don't know
But
if I
there's
want
a
to
lot
insult.
of,
I don't know if I want to insult Matt Griffin that bad. But I digress. But yes, I do know what you're saying. Yes.
there's a lot on this card. I mean, Alex Kane comes back. Alex Kane is a massive, massive big deal on the high end of the independent circuit. Kenway's on the card. Joe Black's on the card. This is a good show, a real good show. And where do we find them?
Look, yeah, I mean, dude, look, it's up there in Calhoun, and like I said, the card is loaded. I look, the highlights got to be Suge and Joe Black are going to crush it. That's 100%. So again, door 6:30, bells at 8. Forever Pro. Check them out on social media, man, and check them out because the Matt Griffin explain to me thing constantly. We agree constantly. But look, down in Franklin, Georgia, this weekend, New Legacy Pro on Friday, door 6:30, bells at 7:30. Look, your guy Alexander lives in the house. He's going to be he's going to be defending that New Legacy Pro championship right there on Friday night, man.
Always good to have him. The thing went from Georgia Rookie of the Year to a signed NWA talent, all in 1 year. It's great to have him on the card. I want to see more of this, what they've got going on down there. I've got to get down to New Legacy Pro. It's a solid card they put together. Where do you find them, Nick?
Look, all on social media, man. You got to find out because that's where the Standard, Stunt Marshall, Sean Nelson, Eddie Honcho, all there in the house. So again, follow them on social media. Door 6:30, bell 7:30 down there in Franklin, Georgia. New Legacy Pro Wrestling. Look, High Voltage Wings right up there in Monroe. It's going to be running the show for it with Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. Bell's at 7 because guess what, Myron?
What?
It's in a place that's already open. It's in a food place, so there is no doors.
Just get there.
Just get there and
food.
eat. Yeah, and then enjoy the show. Look, we're gonna have to pause a little bit. Yeah. I know.
Crappiest sponsors.
Listen, if they're gonna pay the money, they're gonna pay the bills. We always say that. Look, thank you. I appreciate this.
I haven't.
Huh?
Did I get a new T-shirt out of this deal or something?
Maybe. But
bring home some chicken wings.
We'll get into what happened. Like, look, at this point, you should be a Patreon member. You should be a YouTube member. Somewhere, some way, you probably would have seen what happened this past Friday at Tannery Row at Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. And Mr. Jack Jameson's bought some airtime, and he's got something to say. Let's see what it is.
Here's the deal. Everybody saw what happened at Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. So yeah, I bought more ad time on the Fatted Out podcast because I got more I need to say. Now what's going to happen is I demand satisfaction. And I demand satisfaction from Turnbuckle, from Tapped Out, and from Nick. So what I want is to get my hands around your fat little neck. And I know I can't just come fight you because I'll end up in jail because you'll sue me and have me arrested and whatever else because you're a big baby. Can't fight like a man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you an offer that I know you can't turn down. Everybody with a podcast that talks about professional wrestling wishes they were a professional wrestler and would do anything to step foot into a ring once, even if they knew they were going to get their ass kicked. So, Nick, lifelong dream, childhood dream, come true, here's your opportunity. I want you in a match October 4th in Buford, Georgia at Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. I've already had it cleared with management as long as you're okay with it and you sign the paperwork saying you're not going to sue. I'll even let you pick the stipulation. Whatever you want, whatever it takes to get you in the ring so I can kick your ass and not have any legal troubles afterwards. October 4th, your hometown. Bring your friends and family because you're going to get the opportunity of a lifetime when I shove my fist down your fat throat.
So there's that.
Disdain.
I know
Myron's look of disdain.
So Myron, he I don't know if you've heard, he has challenged to a match. October 4th, Buford, Georgia, at Tannery Row. Look, let's preface with, Myron, we're not wrestlers. Never claimed to be, never said we were.
but I've got a bucket full of balls, enough hair on my ass to weave an Indian blanket. But I'm not getting into the ring because I'm nearly crippled. I'm injured.
Well,
I'm tired.
so he sent the video, and I will tell you this: I've spoken to the powers in my house, the powers that be in my household, and said, you know what? I think we're going to do this. I discussed it. I discussed it with you a little bit. And I'm going to discuss it with you some more at a later date. I think the kids made it one fatal flaw.
Oh God!
And we're going to find out. That's all I'm going to say for now. Jack Jameson. By the way, there's a reason why. I'll see you Friday in Monroe. You'll get.
I won't.
Yeah,
I won't see you Friday. I think this is ridiculous.
But so we will see, and that's kind of But look, if you want it, I'm not selling. Look, if you want to go, you know why you want to go to Monroe to go to High Voltage Wings? Because you're going to see guys like QT Marshall, Brady Booker. Who knows who else will be there? Like their roster's stacked and loaded. Satnam Singh may show up. We always joke about you never know who's going to show up at a show. But obviously, Jack Jameson will be on that show. Here's the oddity of it, Myron. You should pick. He's a talented guy. He's a phenomenal physique.
He's a dick.
And lots and lots of stuff. There's a lot of reasons why he's achieved the success he has. But hey, I digress. That's SCA.
SCA, most improved wrestler of 2024. My friend, your friend, the man, Xander Seabolt, gets a championship match versus Tower. Have you seen this Tower fellow, Nick?
Oh, yeah, I saw him at Southern Fried. Remember, he was at Southern Fried last show.
Extremely large fellow. Xander, this is a big match for him. This kid has really come a long way. Went from a manager to a tag team wrestler to a guy that's getting a title shot on its own. Can't wait to see this. So proud of him. We got, is that Jeremy Vane coming back, attacking Luke Da Silva? And oh my God, Dexter. Is Dexter not with the great Justin Sane anymore?
They had a falling out a few weeks. They had a months ago. They had their thing. They had their big match at the last show. I believe Justin has been, just taken care of by one Dexter, and so yes,
flown out in a medical helicopter.
No medical facility, no medical hospital or anything like that. But that's the question now. So now that Dexter has passed and taken care of, theoretically, sometimes your past comes back to haunt you. But he's done with Justin Sane. What's next for Dexter? That's a $1 million question. What's going on? But you're right, dude. That's a huge opportunity for Xander Seabolt to climb the pecking order. Here's the thing: capture this gold and continue to go on. Who knows? Maybe there's even bigger things in the future for him. Just saying. Time will tell, right? Time will tell. Look, Southern Fried on Monroe. The next night, we're now on Saturday. That is Door at 6. Bell is at 7. The big news coming out of there is Anthony Henry is going to be in town for a seminar. And look, if you're a wrestler, and look, I know seminars are, they feel like they're everywhere now. Anthony Henry's the guy that you can learn from.
Oh, definitely.
And by the way, talk about taking advantage of the situation, not in a bad way, by the way. Anthony Henry's going to wrestle since he's there. It's like, hey, he's going to bring, Todd Sexton.
Oh man,
phenomenal match, right? It's got to be.
Oh man, still want me one of those Sexton wrestling school wrestling, those hoodies. Todd's cold all the time because he wears a hoodie even in the middle of summer apparently. Looking forward to CT Keys and Hunter. That's a big deal. Hunter James. That's a big deal. Second match of Buck and Naja. Pat Roach, the old catch style wrestler, wrestling Matt Sells. I don't know if Matt Sells really has a style of wrestling.
Oh yeah, he's a boozerweight. He's absolutely
Boozerweight.
got a style. Yeah, I mean, look, you know what you're going to get, and it's going to be a party. We talked about
That's
it
gonna be
earlier. It's a fun time.
I'm looking forward to that. Bringing back Happy Madness. I love Happy Madness. It got a 3-way tag team match with the Approved and the Faithful. That sounds interesting. All-time fan favorite, Ashworth. Guys, got Zach Buchanan back. Holy crap. Can't wait to see Zach Buchanan.
Yeah.
The fans love this guy. He's like magic. And we got that Koloff guy back on the card. This is hot stuff, folks.
Jacob Ashworth, Aaron Dallas, and Zach Buchanan versus Will Caution, Rob Adonis, and Alexander Koloff in basically a 6-man grudge match. Just chaos will ensue. You got to is that going to start the show off? That'd be a heck of a way to start the show off.
I don't think anybody does just good old-fashioned Southern wrestling better than Southern Fried.
No. Let me ask you a question, because you touched on it briefly. Hunter James, CT Keys. Hunter's challenging. He won an opportunity to face CT Keys for that title. This is a title match. CT Keys, here's the question, is he so focused on getting his hand on Jeter for being attacked by him that Hunter James slips in here now and just shocks the world and takes that title off of him before he even gets to Jeter? That's the question I think you got to be careful of.
I would want a clarification if Jeter just wants the title or if Jeter wants CT Keys. Because if Jeter wants the title, I would not want to win it. Because he would pound him through the mat.
I think it's become personal now that it's, even if Hunter captures that title, he's a marked man regardless. Whoever's wearing that title is a marked man. However, I think this stuff is personal now with Jeter and CT Keys. So, yeah, if he takes that title, you'll dodge a bullet for a minute because Jeter's going to be tied up with CT Keys. But absolutely, yeah, I just cannot imagine. That's the challenge. Can he defeat him for that? Southern Violence is running in Swanee. Yes. Bell time is at 7 at Monkey Wrench Brewing. They're going to be there. Teriyaki, Donnie Darko for the Southern Violence title. That one's going to be kind of the highlight of the show. Tag titles will be on the line. Aaron Black, Jay Lucas, Jeremy Prater, Brandon Watley, many, many more right down the road from us.
Oh, yeah. Cool place to see a show in, too. Really like it there at Monkey Wrench.
Hey, Myron, what do we always tell them again? Follow them on social media so you can check out everywhere they're going to be. And even so, these places, like I said, if they do have their tickets available, you can get those early, kind of like the next one we're going to talk about, IWE down in Milledgeville, Georgia, at the American Legion. Doors are at 6, bells at 7.
This is dynamite, folks. Look at this card. Yeah.
Listen, before we start, I want to clarify. There is a topic we discussed over on the Tapped In show this week. Go listen. We're not going to dive into it, because it's, we don't want to take away from the fact that this is a brilliant card. This card is stacked. And now let's be blunt. We always joke, and Myron, I'm going to ask you if do you agree or disagree? We always talk about how most wrestling shows are like 1, 2, or 3 match cards, and everything below that is kind of like, look, I'm not saying the other matches don't matter and the athletes aren't, but there's a match or two that sells the show. Right now, hands down, there's 2 on the card. By the way, how about it's crazy that your champion is not, in my opinion, in one of those matches, because it's him and Chad Skywalker. He's the Mayhem champion. White Mike is your IWE champion. Both have open challenges. Surprises is always a cool thing to see, but Danny Jordan versus Haley J, IWE versus IWN title. There's match 1 that I'm like, hey, this one's one of the ones that you got to get in there and see.
Definitely.
The one that's pulling at the heartstrings, consider making a haul to Augusta. All-Star Special versus the Hierarchy. It is the tag team titles of the Hierarchy along, it's tough to even say, versus the career of one Will Huckabee.
Huckabee's so important to me. Huckabee's always been a big friend of the show. I can't think about William Huckabee not active. I understand why William Huckabee wouldn't active wrestle anymore. The thought of it does break my heart. I understand there was someone in a similar age group to him. I hate to see that. The Hierarchy is in a position, though. just to take over this promotion. I don't know if they've got something evil planned with James Caleb Kitchens, if he's had crocheted elf ears made for
Listen,
them.
probably. Look, you're asking the question. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're like, you don't know if he's got something underhanded, in mind. It's James Caleb Kitchens. The answer to that question is yes, he does. That's the shock of why does Huck do this, knowing they're probably not getting a fair shake in this deal.
Yeah.
And again, I want to reiterate what you said. Like, we understand William Huckabee has to be at peace with the idea there's a chance that after this he's not wrestling anymore. Look, he's doing tremendous things behind the scenes, and he's mentoring a lot of people and all of that. So, like, look, if that's where his heart's leaning now, I understand. Again, I'm not trying to shy away from it. We did a whole thing behind the Patreon wall about Will Huckabee, Joe Black, et cetera, retirement matches in general. I don't want to see Will Huckabee go away as an active wrestler. I don't.
I mean, we could engage the Todd Sexton rule where you're allowed to have 9 retirements.
I don't think William Huckabee's that guy. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to the guys that don't. I think when he's done, he's done.
Are you still going to hang out with us, Huckabee, at WrestleCade?
Right.
Can we still be friends?
1,000%. I think that we can. I don't think that's
still
going
come
away.
to shows sometimes.
Last but not least, listen, Skrilla, Colby Carino, that one should be a barn burner, hands down. Look, I'd seen Colby a few times, got to see him again at Southern Honor at the last
Phenomenal
Yeah.
wrestler.
Great. Real quick, look, TCW Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling is running another show this weekend. It is in Dade City, Florida. Like, hey, so we're not going to deep dive into it.
So proud of them.
Yeah, they're
benefiting the Dusty Rhodes Foundation. Such good work.
Absolutely. And so they're going to be down in Dade City, Florida. So not even in Georgia. So that's why we're not going to deep dive in it. But look, if you are in Dade City, Florida, anywhere in Florida in that area, look, bell time is at 7. Follow them on social media because they are everywhere. I tell people all the time, the only way you're going to keep up with them, all of the facilities they run, like in a month, 6-7 shows, it feels like, on Facebook, follow them. They keep their calendar up to date. With a rare card where they've actually announced the matches, Ilya Drago versus Brady Booker, Parker Lee versus Aaron Solo, Helena Herrera, and Angelica Risk. And by the way, friend of the show and just absolute, probably the nicest guy in pro wrestling, Ray Lloyd Glacier is going to be in the house there at Turnbuckle Championship. Go by and see our buddy Ray.
Ray Lloyd is, like I said, I would say he's the nicest guy in professional wrestling, but he actually might be one of the nicest guys in the entire world.
Yeah.
Had a very lovely talk with Hyena Hera at the last show. I don't know why I'm stuttering at 1 o'clock during the middle of, or 2 o'clock. She was a very, very pleasant conversation. Knew what she was talking about very well. I was impressed thoroughly. Her and Angelica Risk will be a very good match.
Absolutely. So check them out again. Follow them on Facebook. Make sure you're checking out all of their shows because they are everywhere, all over North Georgia. They are obviously in Florida, and they've also announced the show, by the way, in Huntsville, Alabama, coming up in the near future. So that's crazy. But look, now let's talk about friend of the show. Sure. Easy for me to say. Sure, because I was saying Nerd U. I blended those two words right there together. Nerd U Collectibles and Comics up in Commerce, Georgia. Is actually putting on a show right there. It's kind of downtown in the park. It's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Look, Matt Westlake and that team up there putting on a great show. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be out in the park. Take your kids. Enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Let them play out in the park. Hey, get them outside. How about that? There's a concept. Take your kids outside. There's a chance, and I'm trying to work it. It depends on where Saturday night where we are. Like, I think that's the key of whether I can do both.
I mean, the 60s and 70s outside during the day, man, I hope that holds up. That'll be perfect.
Yeah, I'm hoping that. I have not looked at the actual weather app, just curiosity to see what it looks like. As of right now, high on Saturday is 88 and the low is 65. So let's look into the hourlies as those pan out.
Well, I'm a pretty shitty meteorologist, but
Yeah.
worse has been said about me.
Listen, dude, it's that time of year where you cannot pick the weather in Georgia. So here's the thing. How about we just want it not to rain because it's outdoors?
Well,
That's what we
there's
want.
no rain on my forecast.
Look, Commerce, Georgia, Terry Lawler, Georgia Championship Wrestling, heavyweight title, has to be one of the most – there might be a competition for the GCW Championship and potentially the Georgia Heritage Championship that Jacob Ashworth holds. Are those two titles the most defended titles in Georgia right now? Because they're both taking those belts everywhere and defending them. That's a good question.
Yeah. I love what Ashworth is doing too.
Yeah.
Man, Nelms gets everywhere. Nelms does. He'll get over and he'll put that belt down.
Yeah.
That guy's getting on it. Terry, like I said, Terry Lawler has to be my absolute favorite wrestler in Georgia. I know I reclassify that on a whole basis, but Terry Lawler, if it wasn't for him, we'd have probably quit doing this years ago. So maybe he's not my favorite wrestler. But
that could be on a day-to-day basis. That may change. Cool thing I do want to say, shout out to friend of the show, Christian Taylor, getting an opportunity to capture the Nerd U Heavyweight Championship versus Chris Del Rey. Shout out to the kid. I get it. You may some places like him, some places don't. So be it. We acknowledge hard work, and good luck to this kid. And it'd be cool to see him capture gold. So
I was trying to do that acknowledge fingers, what they do on television.
That's the point. Tweak. But then on Sunday, look, it's for, as of right now, it's the only show I have on the calendar.
Yeah.
Nerd U. That's right, dude. Folk, back-to-back days. They're going to go from Commerce. They're going to pack everything up. And look, I don't know how deep we want to go into this because I don't know how to talk about some of these things. I just don't. I wish I do. But they're going to head down to Winder, and they're going to put on a charity event. Again, follow Nerd U. Follow them on Facebook. By the way, if you like comic books and Magic the Gathering, etc., those kind of things. Hey, and I say that because then you're going to see where all their shows are, and you'll have all of the information for this one. And this is a benefit show. It's a total charity show, so that's kind of keep that in mind.
They're benefiting the Appalachia School. Y'all all know what happened there. There was that school shooting. It's going to be a charity benefit for them. I think it's a good spot. I think it's a lot of good people doing wonderful work. CB Suave versus Curtis Coleman should be excellent.
Tear the house down.
Yeah. So many names in action at this show. It'd be a shame to miss this.
I mean, yeah, look, we just rattled off CB Suave. You brought up Curtis Coleman, Jacob Ashworth, Hunter James, and I know you're a big Pat Roach fan as well.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just looking through everything. Look, I'm a big fan of the kid Sid Ellington. I've been telling everybody to give this kid a follow and watch it, follow along with him. Absolutely cool. Cool character, cool gimmick, call it whatever you want to. I just like the kid because he doesn't have any quit in him. But when you're like top of that card, when you're looking at somebody like CB Suave versus Curtis Coleman, we're massive fans of both. And I always say, man, don't pass up an opportunity to see CB Suave.
It's still one of the most underrated wrestlers in Georgia. I don't see how he continues to get overlooked. Yeah. Love that guy.
Book CB Suave, folks. Hey, CB, I'm going to cut this again so you can say it, so you can clip this. Nick McDaniel from the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast endorses and asks promoters, book CB Suave.
Yes.
There you go. Clip that and you can put that in. Look, man, I know we're getting close to that time that I told you we had a deadline for the show. So let's roll right into the plugs here where we talk about hey, there's a reason, folks. We're going to try to cut a lot of extra stuff, and we're starting to get into there. I actually talked to somebody, and I'm going to ask, can we cross-promote the thing that I told you about earlier? We're going to keep it quiet. The thing about maybe me doing on Tuesday. See if we can air it on both networks. And if we do, it'll be on our Patreon page at patreon.com/tappedoutpod, the YouTube channel at tappedoutpod.com. Like the page, subscribe to the page, turn that little notifications on so you don't miss it. By the way, make sure on Patreon you're doing the same thing, because I had some people say, I'm not getting my notifications. And I said, did you have your settings on? Oh, my bad. So both places, make sure they're on.
Yes.
But, man, look, it's a lot of stuff. And, again, looking at next week, dude, before we get out of here, I think there's, yeah. Oh, that's this
It's
weekend.
a
Ooh, I was
great
about
time to be a wrestling fan. If you're not where you can go to these shows we talk about, you go to your local Facebook. Well, I mean, everybody's Facebook is local, but go to your Facebook and find local independent wrestling promotions. And then the wrestlers on those promotions will post their local promotions they're wrestling on. And before long, you'll have this huge list of all the independent promotions in your area, and you'll know where to go. Or find
And
somebody that puts on those lists,
if you
and you'll
if
know
you
where to go.
if you hear us talking about promotions, you can hear the excitement in our voice on some of these promotions that we love. Go to YouTube. A lot of them have YouTube channels.
Yes.
Support them simply by watching their show on YouTube.
Subscribe.
Subscribe,
Like.
absolutely. Anything you can do to kind of stay in the loop and watch them show after show after show. I know our good friends at Kraken, man. Look, we're going to talk about them next week because they're actually running the next week. But every week they're rolling stuff out on their YouTube channel. Like every week, it's a little bit of. They're like spoon feeding it to you like week after week after week, which I think is a cool concept. Versus it's tough to drop like a 3-hour show and to kind of sit through the whole thing. I like the way they chop theirs up. So kind of cool. So shout out to Kraken for all that hard work they're doing down there. And again, follow them all on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. You can look. It's right here in the corner. It's telling you subscribe, turn your notifications on, all that good stuff on, man. And
Animated.
Yeah, well, that's a new toy, right? That's what it goes. Well, man, anything else you got before we get out of here? It's getting a long week.
No, boss. You got to send me that little thing for my the thing I'm building, that tapped out animation, because I love that. But yeah, I'm super happy, super stoked. Going to be a good weekend. Going to be a great. Hell, I got to watch that NXT from last night with CM Punk. It's not a task to catch up on wrestling shows on television that I've missed. It's an enjoyable thing. How awesome is that?
Absolutely, man. Well, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.